Meeting. Yeah, I just started recording this meeting. I forgot to start it earlier. So exception handling is required in Java programming, which is one of the elegant features of Java, which is helpful to intimate the end users with an appropriate message whenever any errors or certain exceptional events occur in the application. Like for example, let's say you got 10 lines of code and something went wrong at line number 6, then it is about to break the whole program, means all those 10 lines of program will get disturbed in between. It is not going to complete till to the last line of execution. So it is getting terminated. I mean the whole program is getting terminated in between. So such a situation, such an event is known as an exception. So here is the definition about event. I mean exception definition. This is, it is an event, right? So that event will occur during the execution of a program, and because of that particular event the normal flow of your program is getting disturbed, right, and is causing the termination of the whole program. This event is to be known as an exception. So being a good programming practice, good programmer, being a good developer, it is our responsibility to handle all such events and then taking an appropriate action, at least intimating the end users that this is what this program is about to get terminated here, right? So that the corrective action will be taken at a later point of time by the end users, right? So that particular activity is needed, so that you need to handle the errors whenever those errors are getting occurred within your methods. So that method is going to create certain object and then hand over that object to your Java runtime system or Java runtime environment, and that object is to be referred as exception object, which is carrying the information about that error, like what type of error it is and what is the state of your program when this error has got occurred, right? And how do you create this exception object and how do you hand it over to the runtime system is referred as throwing that exception out, right? So this way we need to play with these things, and Java is providing us an appropriate mechanism to handle all such error conditions, right, through writing your programs itself in a systematic way so that you'll be able to take the necessary action, so which is all to be considered as the best practices of programming, right? Like for example, you are trying to format a number which is not in a right number, acceptable number, right? It is going to cause some error. So you need to handle that, and you can intimate the end users, please pass a valid number, then only it will get formatted, right? So all such things will be able to take care, and we wanted to handle all those erroneous situations through our Java programs, which are need to be caught by the Java runtime environment, right? So any exception we are going to write, they are all going to be the exception classes or the error classes. So both these exception and error are to be considered as the subclasses of throwable, right? And all your Java exceptions are going to be raised by using your throw keyword, and you need to handle all of them in a catch block. So we'll see the proper syntax of it, how you are going to catch them, how you are going to throw them, all that. Right, so let's try to write one simple program first so that you can understand what is an exception and how do we handle it. Right, so who would like to share the screen? Tirumal, Rishita, Ahmad. Any one of you? Ahmad, shall I make you the presenter? Oh, Thirumal said yes. Oh, all you guys said yes. Not sure when you said yes. Okay, at 9 you said yes. Ahmad, shall I make you the presenter? Right. Oh, Thirumal wanted to share? Okay. Yeah, just give me a second. I'll be making you the presenter. Ahmad, for today, let's let Thirumal share his screen. Right? Yes, Thirumal, I am making you the presenter. Yeah, you are the presenter now. Right, we can see your screen. Can you please launch your Eclipse? Right, we are there in Eclipse. And go to the package which you created, com.op.practice. Right click on that and then try to create a new class. Name it as exception test 1 or exception test. Okay, take the main method also. Okay, and here you can copy all these 3 lines of code into this main method. Right, so I pasted 3 lines of code. So these 3 lines you can paste it there inside the main method. Okay, and here can you please make your I mean the font is very low, so can you change your settings of the desktop so that we can see little bigger font? Later you can reset that. Display itself, I believe. Change the size of text, apps and other items 100%, he said, right? So just try to make it little bigger. Customize your display. It is showing change the size of text, apps, all that. No, this is with respect to brightness. 150 is fine. Try to make it 150. Let's see how it looks like. 125 is recommended. Okay. Make it 150 and let's see apply. Oh, it looks good, right? So later you can, after the class, you can make it small. 150 is really good. Yeah, now let's open this Eclipse. Yeah, if you make 150, I think it should be good. So right now it is 125 only. Yeah, yeah. Now check in Eclipse. How does it look like? Yeah, it is pretty good. Maximize your workspace. Very good. So later you can reset it back. Okay. So right now my main method is trying to show start and stop. In between that it is trying to invoke a method called division. Keep the cursor on the division and it is going to not there. No. on the red line, zigzag red line there. You are highlighting java.lang.system, system.out you are highlighting. Keep the cursor on division which is underlined. Right. Now the quick fix provided, create method. So choose that option, create method. Right. It is going to create you a private method over there, and to which you are passing your variables 100 and 4. 100 is received as variable I and 4 is received as variable j. Copy these three lines and paste them inside the division method. So I am trying to run my division to calculate the division of I divided by j, so that I'll be able to find out the appropriate average value over there. Right? Save this and try to run this. How many lines of output we are expecting from this? So we got start and then division is called. So it prints computing division, the very first line, the first line from the division method. And then it is trying to calculate the average I divided by j. So 100 divided by 4, average will be calculated as 25, and it is printing that value. And then the control will be returned back to the next statement after your division call in the main method. Means it goes and executes the line number 8. Okay, so it is printing stop. Now for example, if you go there to the line number 7 and makes a change there, division 100 comma 4 is there right now, so just remove that 4 and make it 0. Now let's see what will happen. So we are trying to divide 100 by 0. So as per mathematics, when any number is divided by 0, it is going to return as the infinity. But as per computers, it is throwing you an error. So on your console you can see that exception came. Exception, it says computing division got printed. After that java.lang.arithmetic exception divided by 0 that came from exception test.java line number 13. So line number 13 is causing that exception, and it is called from line number 7. So those line numbers, the complete stack trace, whatever those red lines of messages got printed on your console, it is all known as the stack trace of your error. So where from the error is occurred. So the error is occurred from line 7, and then 7 is calling 13, so at line 13 the error came. So here is the requirement not to show such red lines of messages, and instead if we can show the appropriate user friendly message to the end user is fine. And one more thing here you can observe that, so as soon as the exception occurred at line number 13, so no more lines got executed. So after line number 13, 14 should get executed, right? And also line number 8 should execute, means the call should be completed for division and it should come back to the main method and it should print the stop, right? So since here we are not handling any exception, so that is the reason it started from start and is broken at wherever the exception occurred. So if we can handle it properly, then there is no such exceptional situations. So let's try to handle them by putting the appropriate lines of messages, appropriate line blocks, right? So go there inside your division method and try to put the try block before line 12. Press enter before line 12, try, open the curly brace, press enter. Yeah, the whole lines of code you can try to put inside the try block. Cut all those 3 lines and paste them inside the try block. Then that try block should be followed by catch block. So you need to write the catch block after that. Catch. So what is that you need to catch? We need to catch this arithmetic exception. So open the brackets. So mention so catch need to be provided with the parameters. So catch, open the brackets after catch, not the curly braces. Before curly braces, catch should be the method like. It should look like a method. So open the brackets. So within those brackets, you need to mention what type of exception you wanted to catch. So I wanted to catch this arithmetic exception. Mention that. ARI, type ARI and then press control space bar. Control space bar, that should pop up. Yeah, select the first one, press enter. Yeah, arithmetic exception space E. Means it is like int I you mentioned, right? So same way. Small e, variable it is. See int, how we said int I comma int j. So the same way it should. Right now, go inside the catch block and then write sys out. Sys out within double quote say exception plus e dot get message. Right, now save this and try to run this one. There you go. You can see start, stop as well as computing division, and also you will be able to see that exception divided by 0, right? So everything in an appropriate order, they are all visible there. Means that indicates that my whole program got executed starting from start till to the stop, which is the expected last line of output, right? So this is how we'll be able to see the output. Clear? And one more thing, in case if you wanted to have, like try is the block which is required to mention the lines of code which you are expecting that it is going to cause the trouble. Press Ctrl Shift F, the code will be properly aligned. Ctrl Shift F, right, perfect. Delete that blank line 18. Keep the cursor, Ctrl D, right. Keep the cursor on line 19, Ctrl D. Line 20, Ctrl D, perfect. Now see how cute it looks like. Save this. So here, suppose in case if I wanted to return the value and then display some message there in the main method. Like right now this division is returning the void method, void value. So instead of it, in case if I wanted to return some int value, then how can I do that, right? So let's say save as this one. Say file save as, say that exception test1.java. Test1 1. No. Cancel. Save as means you are trying to save it with a different name, right? Correct. Okay. So in that source file, the class name should be the same one. So rename it type to rename. Yeah. Choose that quick fix. Perfect. Now what I want to do is at line 7, yeah, there, before the division, try to put int r equal to, result equal to, right? So I want to call that division and I want to receive that r value there. So go to line 11 and change that void as int. Private static, it should be int, means it should return some value. Right. Now declare one variable there inside that before the try block. Say that int r equal to 0. Press enter. Semicolon. Right. Now after your catch block, you can say after your catch block means where? After line number 19. There you need to say return r. So you need to return the value, right? Right. So now delete that line 14. Control D on line 14. Right. Now say that r equal to I divided by j. I don't want to declare another variable int r, all that. So just say r equal to, int you can remove. Already it is declared, right? It is declared before the try block. Yes. Now delete line 15 also. Control D. Right. Now go there to line 7 and after line 7 you can write a message. Sys out. Sys out only one S, not double S. Within double quote say that 100 divided by 0 equal to plus r. Right. Save this. Now try to run this. Control Shift F you can press if you want. Right, there you go. Start, exception came and 100 divided by 0 became 0 and the value is stopped. So it is reaching till to the last one. Okay. So here for this try block, not only the catch block is the associate member for that, but also there is one more block that you can write, which you can call it as the finally block. So let's write finally block also. Try, catch, finally are the three complete way of writing the exception handling. Whereas finally is optional or catch is optional. When you are going to write try, either minimum one catch or the finally block should be there. So there can be multiple catch blocks, but finally should be only one. Or in case if you want to write both catch and finally together, that also you are allowed. Right, so let us write finally. So let's see what finally is going to do for us. After catch block, write finally. F-I-N-A-L-L-Y. Open the curly brace, press enter. So I just wanted to verify when this finally is getting executed. So this finally is the one which is always getting executed. In case if exception comes, it is executed. If no exception, then also it gets executed. So let's check that. Right, say if condition, open the brackets, right, press enter, right. The condition is r equal to 0. I mean I want to check r value. R double equal to 0, not single equal to. You are not assigning, you are trying to compare it. Right. If R equal to 0, then write inside this if statement sys out. Right. Exception, or you can say inside finally after exception. Inside finally after the exception. The exception is not there inside the finally block. So you are inside the finally block, or you can say don't put inside outside. So just say finally after exception. Or say finally after catch. Finally block is getting executed after catch. That's what, right? Else open curly brace, press enter. Press enter. Right. Sys out. Finally without catch. So R is given with some value means no catch block is executed, right? So catch block is executed when exception is coming up. Finally without catch. Finally without catch. Without is a single word. Okay, Control Shift F. Save this and try to run this. Let's verify what it is going to print for us. Run the program. So finally after catch came. Can you make your console little bigger? Start statement is printed. After the start statement exception occurred divided by 0. Then after that finally block is executed. After that catch block. Then whatever the value returned from the division is 0, that gets printed, and then stop is printed. So here in this case the finally block is getting executed after your catch block. Correct. So all the 5 lines of statement we got to see as a result. Now minimize this. Now what I want you to do is just double click on console title bar. Yeah, that's also fine. Right. So here go to line 7 and 8, copy them. 7 and 8, copy them and paste them just below the line number 8. After the 8 you can paste the same thing. Say that int s equal to, I just change that r as int s equal to division 100 comma 10. Then line number 10 you can say 100 comma 10. Save this. So how many lines of output you are expecting now? So earlier start, then division call was causing exception, and then finally after catch, so 2 lines, after that 100 divided by 0 0, fourth line, and then division is called once again. So this time 100 divided by 10, result will be 10. So it will not go inside the catch block this time, right? Because 100 divided by 10 is 10, so R is calculated. So R is not causing any exception there. So no chances of getting into that catch block. But it should be executing the finally block every time. So finally block is verifying that if R value is 0, no. So it goes to the else block and prints that finally without catch, and then the R value is returned into your S variable, and it is going to print 100 divided by 10 equal to 10, then stop. So 4 plus 3 lines, 7 lines of output we are expecting. Let's check that. Run. Right, start, exception divided by 0, then finally after catch 100 divided by 0 is 0, yes. Then this time we are passing 100 divided by 10, so no exception, directly it prints the finally without catch, correct. Then the value is returned 100 divided by 10 equal to 10 and stop. Right, so does this make sense? So this is how we are going to handle the exceptions. Right, so let me make myself the presenter once again so that I can share the remaining lines. Right, so whatever we did, so just try to correlate with that. So the exception classes are from the throwable class, which is the topmost class, classified into error and exception. And exception is defined with one more subclass called runtime exception. So basically your throwable class is to be considered as the supermost class of all exceptions and errors. And the get message, whichever you are seeing in that catch block, it is the message, it is the method from the throwable class. As well as print stack trace is there, which is used to print the complete stack trace, like from what line this error is coming up, who is calling that line, right? So all that is going to be print stack trace. So those are the methods provided by your throwable class. And exception is to be considered as the direct subclass of throwable and is representing the exceptions, whatever the exceptions my program is going to face due to the abnormal conditions of execution. So there are two types of exceptions. One is checked exceptions, the other one is unchecked exceptions. So checked exceptions to be known as compile time exceptions. We are going to take a look at these things. So right now whatever you did, it comes under the unchecked exception, runtime exception. Means my program will be compiled even if I don't put any try block, catch block, all that, because syntactically everything look correct. But based on your values which you are passing to the division method, it is getting failed. Means it is able to verify those values during the runtime only. They are not getting verified during the compilation of the program. So that's why they are all known as the unchecked exceptions. Right? So runtime exception is to be known as the subclass of your exception class, like all your examples, like your null pointer exception, just now array index out of bounds exception or arithmetic exception, the one which we executed, they are all to be considered as the subclasses of your runtime exception, right? Majority of the thing is it is all because of logical errors, not syntactical errors, but logically 100 cannot be divided by 0, so that's why it is caused, right? So that's how. Similarly, error is another subclass of your throwable, which is referred as the irrecoverable condition. So you will not be able to handle it through program. Like you are trying to print some document from your laptop. So all of a sudden if your laptop loses the connectivity with that printer, what do? You can't do anything. It is not the problem with your program. It is the error that occurred, so it will not be your printing job is getting disturbed in between, and at the max it is going to prompt you a message, printer is disconnected or printer is all of a sudden switched off or whatever, right? So such things will not be able to handle programmatically. They are all comes under these error conditions, right? So this is how the three different situations which will cause the exceptions. One due to the programming mistakes, the other one due to the client code mistakes, the other one is resource failures, right? So these are all the three different situations. And majority of the time, being a developer, it is our responsibility to take care about all the what do you call programmatic errors, right? As well as the client code errors. Like if you are trying to call any objects or any APIs, right? And if those APIs are not in appropriate format and all, then they will be causing you some trouble. So while invoking any APIs, all that, you need to be little cautious. You need to follow the appropriate API handlers, all that. So that way if you can make calls, no exceptions will be there. But in case if exceptions will come, you should be able to handle them. Right? So programmatical errors are null pointer exception. So we are not sure that whether the object is null or not. We are not doing such checking and all. Right? So on a null object, if you are trying to invoke any method, it is going to cause you the null pointer exception. Arguments may be the illegal arguments. Right? So your client code doesn't know what exactly it is all. It is all based on the parameters that you are going to pass it to that. Right? So they are all going to be generated due to the programming errors. So we should be having the proper checkpoints to catch them, and that way we'll be able to handle them. Then coming to this client code errors, like if you think that an XML document which you are trying to read it, and in case if that XML document is not properly formatted and all, it is not your program mistake, it is the mistake of that XML document which is not in right alignment, right format, then it is going to cause you some error. So it is all the responsibility. You need to try to handle them and then show the appropriate user-friendly message saying that the given XML file is not a well-formed XML. So that the client is going to verify that XML document why this error occurred. So he'll go back to the XML document and he'll take the corrective steps in that XML document. So that way we should be able to provide the appropriate user friendly messages, right? Resource failures, like you are running a program, your system is running out of memory or your system is failing from the network. So all such things will not be able to handle, but up to certain extent we will be able to handle by writing by appropriate exceptions, and then in that exception handlers you can also give a retry operations, retry possibilities, all that, by making a call to go back to the other method and then try it for 3 times or 4 times like that. Let's say for example you wrote a try block and you wanted to read through a document which is opened from a network, and when you are reading that document from the network, let's say your network is failed, then it goes to the catch block. So in that catch block you wanted to invoke a call to the read method of that document, so that you will be reading it again and then making a call back to the try, so that it keeps trying again. So like that I just wanted to give a try for 2 times or 3 times, and if it is more than 3 times then I want to terminate my program. So all such kind of activities I wanted to handle. So in that situation I can go with this exception handling, which are going to occur during the resource failure, right? So those are the three different situations. And as we said that the two types of exceptions, checked and unchecked, checked are known as the compile time exceptions. All are inherited from the exception class. They need to be thrown out. They need to be handled properly, right? Otherwise my program will not get executed. Such things are known as checked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions, we are not sure until and unless we run the program. They are all extended from runtime exception class from the exception, right? So the syntax of your exception statement writing is like this: try block followed by catch block, and there could be multiple catch blocks as well, and the finally block is the only one that you need to write. So just now we wrote these three blocks in one program, right? And for every try block there should be either catch or finally. It need not be only catch or it need not be only finally. If you write both, well and good. Just now we wrote that. Or either catch or finally should be there. And sometimes there can be multiple catch blocks also. But finally block should be only one. So try block is the one which is responsible to hold all those lines of code which will be causing the exceptions. And catch block is the one which is responsible to catch those exceptions. Let's say I know that there are 10 lines of code. Each line of code is going to cause one or the other exception. Then there should be some 10 catch blocks I wanted to write. So I need to write all of them in the appropriate order. The very latest exception should be there. I mean the child class should be there as the first one. And its parent class should keep on going, and the parentmost class is going to be the last one. If you keep the first catch block as the parent class, then the remaining catch blocks will be giving you an error message saying that it is not reachable to those catch blocks, because parent class is itself able to handle all the other types of catches. So that's how the parent exception, we should not keep it as the very first block, right? Starting from the latest or starting from the very childmost exception, we need to keep writing those many number of catch blocks, right? So over a period of practice we'll be able to understand what it is all about. So here is the brief description about what does it mean by try block. The one which we just now tried is a try block, and then catch block, which is meant to handle the exceptions, is called as the catch block, right? So once your control is coming out of that catch block, the regular execution or the normal flow of execution is continuing along with the finally block as well. If finally is not there, just simply it comes out of that try catch and then continues rest of the statements whatever there. In case if finally is there, that will also getting executed after your catch block. Whereas finally block is also be written there, which is meant to keep always executing. Whether exception occurred or not occurred, so always keep executing it. So the purpose of this one is, like let's say inside your try block you are trying to connect to the databases. You connected and you are retrieving the data. So while retrieving the data you got into some troubles and then you are in exceptions, right? So you handled all those exceptions through the catch block. But whatever the resources you kept open, like the database connection or the statement object which you are trying to process, all that, right? So you need to close them carefully before you are going to terminate out from that program or from that method. So all those closing activities or cleanup activities I can write inside the finally block. So if everything went smoothly, no catches executed, then also I need to close all those resources whatever I kept open, or some exception occurred, even in that situation also I should have to close the resources which were kept open. So that way there should be finally block that I need to write it, which is useful for cleaning up the resources, closing the connection objects, all such. So that way we will be able to deal with such cleanup activities. So that is where the requirement of your finally block is. Right, so this is the one which we just now tried to write. Int result we took, Result we have taken try, catch, finally all that we tried. So this is what the program just now you tried and you got to see the output. And here is a set of rules that are useful while defining the try block, catch block and the finally block. So every try block should be defined with 0 or more catch blocks, but the finally block should be only 1, right? So they are all catch block cannot be written on its own and finally block cannot be written on its own. It is always written in association with your try block, right? So always a try block must be followed by either at least one catch block or one finally block. And remember, this point is very important. The order exception handlers in the catch block should be the very most specific exception is first, then it goes towards its parents, means the more general exception should go at the end, right? So those are the rules that we need to remember. And to define your own exceptions, like customized exceptions we wanted to define, then in that case we can go with this. Would you like to define your own exceptions now? So whenever you are trying to extend your exception class, that way you will be able to define your own exceptions, right? So let's give a try to define our own exceptions by extending the exception class, right? So let me make Thirumal again the presenter. Yes, Thirumal, you can share. Okay, go to Eclipse and then create a new class. Name that new class as bad temperature. Bad temperature. And that super class you can change it as, instead of java.lang.object, you can change that one as exception, right? Don't take any main method. Just say finish. So we are trying to declare our own class called bad temperature, and let's define the constructor for this bad temperature like this. So we'll pass some reason, and that reason we would like to pass it as the message for its superclass exception. So whenever you are going to invoke e.getMessage, so the message is nothing but this particular reason, right? So we are making a call to its superclass by passing this reason, super of reason. Save this. So this is your bad temperature class. Now I want to write one more subclass of this, two subclasses for this bad temperature. One is too hot, right? So when some more than, let's say more than 80 degree Fahrenheit, that should be too hot. We wanted to display a message that this is a very too hot temperature today, right? Similarly, too cold, when it goes less than 40 or less than 50, we wanted to display a message saying that it is too cold, right? So take that. So create a new class, name it as too hot, To hot superclass should be bad temperature. Change the superclass. Bad temperature is its superclass. Okay, finish. Then copy these two constructors into that. Press Ctrl Shift F. Right. Save this. So one is the no arg constructor that will be displaying a default message saying that it is hot. And another one is too hot with an appropriate message, and that message is passed to its superclass. And in turn, that superclass is also going to that superclass. So who is the superclass of bad temperature? I mean too hots. So if you keep the cursor on super line 9 or line 5, right? So it is making a call to the constructor of bad temperature with that reason. So that would be your reason, right? Then similar to this, let's create one more class, call it as too cold, and extend that too cold class also from the bad temperature. And take these two constructors into that. Take Ctrl Shift F, save this, right? So bad temperature and its two subclasses, too cold and too hot, are ready. Now let me write one more class, name it as temperature object. Create one more new class, name it as temperature object. No need of main method, just simply say finish. Declare this property int temperature and also the constructor. Okay. So now I want you to write a method in here, inside this temperature object. Press enter. Say public void test. So let's call that method name as test. Void test. Okay, so inside this let's verify if so condition is temperature less than, put less than. If temperature, not temp, temperature is the property name, not temperate. So your property you need to test it here. If temperature less than 50, right? If temperature is less than 50, right? So I want to say that it is too cold. Means I want to create too cold object. Say new, not sysout. So I just wanted to throw that object. New space too cold. Too cold is your class. You are trying to instantiate that too cold object. Right. So within brackets, you can give some message within brackets, within double quotes. Very cold. I just wanted to give a message like this. Very cold. Right. So an object is created like this and I want to throw this object out. So just keep the keyword throw before new. Throw space new too cold. So if temperature is going to be less than 50, I want to throw that object. So whoever is going to call this test method, it is his responsibility to handle that too cold object. So here to throw this too cold object, your test method should be capable of that, right? So that capability will brought up to your test method by adding throws class. Just keep the cursor there on that red line errors. Right, add throws declaration. Right, so that is adding throws to your test method. It is able to throw the too cold object. So when it is able to throw, when the temperature is less than 50, that time I would like to throw it. Let's press enter, one more enter. After that if statement, let us write one more condition to throw the too hot object as well. If temperature is greater than 80, if temperature is greater than 80, greater than 80, then say throw new too hot, capital 2. Press control space bar, it will come up. Within brackets, within double quotes. Yes, second constructor. Within double quotes you can say very hot. Save this. Put semicolon at the end and you are getting error. Bring that throws class to the method. So too cold, throws too cold comma too hot. Both are given there. Control Shift F. Perfect. So this is my temperature object defined with one method called test method. Okay, save this. Now let us create another class with a main method. So create a new class, name it as temperature test and take the main method there. And inside your main method, copy this one line. So I wanted to say temperature report For the temperature report, I am trying to create a new temperature object of 100. Copy this one line and paste it inside the main method. Right. Keep the cursor at line 6. Create method temperature report. Right. So a private method is declared here whose name is temperature report, and it is trying to take that temperature object. So copy the temperature object variable name from line 9. Temperature object variable name. Temperature object variable name. Now it is the class name. Variable name is the next one. Int I. So I is the variable. So similarly here temperature object variable name. This one. Yes. Paste. Dot. So on this object we are trying to invoke the test method. Type test. Right. Right. See here, this is saying that you are not handling the exception. If you don't handle the exception, it is not going to get compiled. This is called as the checked exception, means the compile time exception. So say that surround with try multi catch, because the test method is throwing two exceptions. So I must have to surround it with multi catches. So catch block is one, but multiple exceptions, either two cold object or two hot object. So this is the new syntax as per the JDK 1.7. So earlier to JDK 1.7, two separate catch blocks were written. One catch is for two cold and one more catch is for two hot. So that way we used to write, right? So save this and try to run this. So since we are passing a temperature object of 100 temperature, so it is the stack trace that gets printed. So from your catch block, it is trying to print you the stack trace, right? So the entire stack trace is printed from line number 15 of temperature object, and it is called from temperature test line 11, and that line 11 is called from your main method from line 6, right? So this is what the complete stack trace is all about. Just comment out that stack trace line. Go inside your catch block. Just comment that e.print stack trace, and instead of it you can take this sys out. Copy this sys out and paste it there after that commented line, right? Yeah, it is temperature object, not temp obj. You can copy your variable name. E.get message, not bt.get message. E. So your variable name is E, right? Save this, run this. Now it will be printing you the simple message saying that 100, very hot, right? So temperature 100 is very hot. Clear? So now go back to your temperature test, then copy line 6 and paste it just below that. Control C, just below that you can press enter and then say paste, and change the temperature object, this time saying that 10, new temperature object 10. So temperature is 10. What is that you are trying to do? Why temp object? Do you have any class called temp object? It is temperature object only. You are calling the temperature object with the value 10. New temperature object 10. Right? And you are passing that for the second time, means you are calling the temperature report 2 times. First time with a temperature object of 100, second time with a temperature object of 10. Save this and run this. You will be getting 2 lines of output there. Right? 100 is very hot, 10 is very cold. Right? Then again paste one more time, this time with the temperature value of 75. Go to the main method, make it say some 75. Control Shift F. So still 2 lines only, because we wrote our sysout only inside the catch block. Nothing is there inside the try block. So take this into try block. Copy this sysout and paste it after you are invoking the test method inside your try. Right. So temperature object dot temperature. Variable name, correct it. Save it. Now try to run it. So 100 is very hot, 10 is very cold, 75 is perfect temperature. So this is how we will be able to invoke those exceptions and we are able to test them like this. Right? So throw is a keyword which is used to throw the exception objects, and that throwing capability is provided by adding the throws class in the method declaration itself. Right? So that is about throw and throws keywords. Right? Any questions so far? Go to the URLs that I pasted. So one is from tutorialspoint.com and the second URL is also provided. It is some theory you wanted to need to understand, all that you can. So file not found demo. So we are going to work with the files tomorrow. So this is one very good website, Java2novice.com. Not only for Java exception handling examples, but there are several other examples you'll be able to find it. Right? So keep this URL with you forever and keep trying to watch out for lots of examples. Tons of examples are there in this. Right? So if you can copy those examples into your local Eclipse and practice them, then definitely you'll be the master. Right? And one more is also given, which is a blogspot, javarevisited.blogspot.com. So go there and keep checking for the lines of code. But you practice. I don't see you guys are practicing much. It is the bad and sad part from your end. So please do practice as much as you can. Otherwise, no use. You cannot ask any questions if you can't practice. If you practice, you can ask as many as possible. Okay, so keep practicing the things and let me know if you are facing any issues, any errors, all that. Let's will try to resolve them. Okay, so that's all from my end for today. Shall we stop here? Thank you, Thirumal. Thanks for sharing the screen. And see you guys tomorrow, 9 p.m. IST. Right? Shalom. Thank you. See you.